metal compulsory delivery futures contract. This video provides essential information on using base metals futures contracts for hedging and price risk management by stakeholders in value chain and ecosystem. This video illustrates the trading, settlement and delivery processes involved in using base metal futures on MCX. Futures contracts are available in major base metals including copper, zinc, aluminium, lead and nickel. These are most widely used in various industrial applications ranging from domestic appliances to construction and manufacturing industries. Aluminium is the most widely used non-ferrous metal with diversified applications in industries like transportation, packaging, cookware, construction, electrical applications, electronic appliances, etc. China is the largest producer as well as consumer of aluminium in the world. Russia, Canada, and India are the other important producers. Copper is known since ancient times as a good conductor of heat and electricity with corrosion resistance and antimicrobial properties. It is widely used in industrial applications such as power cables, telecommunication cables, railways, cathodes, etc. Copper mine production is concentrated in Chile, Peru, China, and Australia. Zinc is known to coexist primarily with lead, apart from silver, copper, and nickel in various concentrations in the Earth's crust. Zinc is largely used for galvanizing iron to protect against corrosion apart from producing die castings, which are extensively used by the automotive, electrical, and hardware industries. Zinc is also used in alloys such as brass. Whilst lead is a toxic metal with a very high density, it is extensively used in acid batteries, apart from protection against radiation. China is the largest mine producer of zinc and lead. Other important producers include US, Korea, India, Canada, and Japan. Nickel is widely used in the manufacturing of stainless steel and other alloys that are corrosion resistant. Alloys of nickel and copper are extensively used in pipes in desalination plants. China is the largest producer and consumer of nickel in the world. India is totally import dependent on this metal. Factors influencing prices of base metals. Demand-supply scenario. Change in production and consumption levels in major producing and consuming countries of the metals. Prices in the international benchmark markets. The prices of metals on the London Metal Exchange, LME, and NYMEX are considered as benchmark references for pricing base metals. The price movements of the metals at the Shanghai Futures Exchange also has significant influence. Foreign exchange fluctuations. The fluctuations in Indian rupee and US dollar exchange rates can significantly impact the prices of base metals and percolate into domestic markets. Economic activity. Base metals are considered as lifeline of economic activities such as industrial production and construction. Any rise or fall in economic activities in India as well as in major economies of the world reflects the rise or fall in demand for base metals, thereby affecting their prices. Commodity-specific events. Development of new production processes, new uses or applications, discontinuation of historical uses, industry restructuring, etc. Inventory levels in designated warehouses of major global exchanges like LME, COMEX, and Shanghai Futures Exchange. Domestic and international policy changes. Mining policy changes in countries contributing for major mine production of the metals. International trade policy changes in terms of tariffs, restrictions, trade agreements, quotas, etc. Domestic taxation changes. Geopolitical events that can cause significant supply disruption, such as unexpected mine or plant closure due to strikes, political disturbances, regime changes, international sanctions, etc. Hedging. Why to hedge? Adverse price movements sourced from various factors discussed earlier cause a risk of potential loss to profits of stakeholders in base metals value chain. Hedging is creating a protective cover using derivative contracts against the risk of adverse price movements in the physical market. It is like taking insurance to protect against risk arising from volatile prices. Hedging involves taking an offsetting position in futures market to the physical market position with the object of neutralizing the risks associated with price changes. A gain or loss in the physical position due to change in price will be offset by changes in the value of the futures platform. Hedging is essential practice for stabilizing incomes of various stakeholders in the value chain, including miners, refiners, traders, stockists, exporters, importers, manufacturers, consuming industries, etc. Hedging with futures facilitates transfer of price risk from hedgers to speculators who do not have physical market exposure but willing to take risks for possible returns from the change in prices. In addition, arbitrageurs play an important role of providing liquidity to the market while looking for riskless returns. How to hedge? Let us assume ABC Manufacturing Company requires 10 empty aluminium ingots weekly to conduct routine production for 4 weeks. It purchases 10 MT of aluminium as its raw material on the 1st of October at 105 per kilogram and sells finished goods by 28th October. The company can sell 10 MT of MCX aluminium 30th of October expiry futures on the 1st October at the prevailing price of Rs 106 per kilogram with an aim to lock the profit margins. Case of fall in price on 28th October. If the price falls, then the company sells the product in the spot market at Rs 94 per kilogram and reverses the position in futures market by buying 10 MT of the aluminium contracts at the prevailing lower price of Rs 95 per kilogram as future prices converge with physical market prices at expiry. Cash flows from physical market transaction is 94 per kilogram. Cash flows from futures market transaction stand at Rs 11 per kilogram, that is 106 minus 95. Net outcome from both transactions is Rs 105 per kilogram, that is 94 plus 11 as locked in. Case of a rise in price. On 28th October, if the price rises, then the company sells the product in the spot market at Rs 116 per kilogram and reverses the position in futures market by buying 10 MT of the aluminium contracts at the prevailing higher price of Rs 117 per kilogram. Cash flows from physical market transaction stand at Rs 116 per kilogram. Cash flows from futures market transaction stand at Rs minus 11 rupees per kilo, that is 106 minus 117. Net outcome from both transactions is Rs 105 per kilogram, 116 minus 11 as locked in. Similar is the case with end user who can take buy position in futures to protect from upside price risk for his tender delivery. Futures contracts. A futures contract is a standardized agreement offered on the commodity exchanges with a clear set of specifications. Contract specifications usually provide information on parameters such as contract listing, calendar and expiry dates, trading unit, price quote and tick size, delivery unit and delivery center, margins and position limit, settlement mechanism, final settlement price, FSP, tender and delivery period, quality specifications, validity of stock. For non-agricultural commodities, trading happens Monday through Friday and the trading session lasts from 9 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. or 11:55 p.m. based on US daylight saving time period. Metal futures contracts are available as per the contract launch calendar. On the last day of trading, that is expiry day, expiring contracts are allowed to trade till 5 p.m. The expiration date is the last business day of the contract expiry month. The price quote for all deliverable base metal contracts except lead is ex-Bhiwandi, excluding GST only. The price quote for deliverable lead contract is ex-Chennai, excluding GST only, at the time of delivery. The buyer has to pay these taxes and levies in addition to delivery order rate. The tick size, which refers to minimum price movement, is 5 paise per kg in all base metal contracts except nickel, where it is 10 paise per kg. The daily price limit is 4% of base price, determined based on previous day's closing price. However, the limits are relaxed over the day based on international price movements. Daily trading and settlement. Market participants, buyer or seller, take the positions in futures market through their trading members, also referred to as brokers, by paying upfront initial and extreme loss margins (ELM) as provided in the contract specifications. This has to be maintained as long as the position is open and for all the open positions at the end of each trading day by marking it to the daily settlement or closing price of the contract in the market, and the process is known as daily mark-to-market settlement. What is daily settlement or closing price? A daily settlement price or closing price of the futures contract is the weighted average price of all trades done during the last 30 minutes of the trading day. Apart from initial and ELM margins, special margin and additional margins may also be imposed on the open positions, as may be required with increase in price volatility. Market participants can exit their positions at any point of time during the contract period by taking an opposite position, also known as squaring off of positions. Example, a buy position can be closed by taking a sell position, and vice versa. Also, corporate can take or provide delivery on the exchange platform. Final settlement and delivery. Tender period is the last 5 trading days of the expiry contract, during which tender period margin (TPM) is levied on the open positions at an incremental rate 5% as specified in the futures contract. On the expiration date of the contract, all the outstanding open positions are marked for delivery and allocated at final settlement price, which is computed as an average of the last 3 days' evening polled spot prices. During staggered delivery period, sellers' intentions will be marked to buyers. A day after delivery is marked, delivery period margin is levied on buyer. Seller deposits the commodity at the clearing corporation designated warehouse with a sticker displaying producer's name, net weight, batch number, purity, number of pieces in the bundle, and date of manufacturing, and buyer make funds pay into the clearing corporation in the first half. On other hand, buyer takes the delivery at clearing corporation designated warehouse and seller receives the funds payout from clearing corporation during the second half of the day. On expiry of the contract and after the commodity payout, the buyer registers and provides details for invoicing and the seller raises invoice to the buyer. The buyer will pay the taxes, GST, to the seller within 5 days from the date of expiry of contract